What's going on, guys? We're back with episode number 5. Kevin brought us in a special guest today, so I'll let Kevin introduce him. Say what's up, Kevin.
Hey, what up, guys? So I'm excited to be here for episode 5, and today we have my friend Mike. He goes by Mike Whitney. And
he's a Seahawks fan, boo.
He is a Seahawks fan. We had to give Patrick the bad news right away, but we cut the Band-Aid off. But we're here. We're excited to have guest number 2, so we're pretty stoked about that. And we're going to give Mike the chance to kind of introduce himself, and we're just going to take this conversation as it goes. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, what's up? Thank you guys both for having me on. Super stoked to be here tonight. Little background on me. Finance major at Boise State. Known Kevin through being in the fraternity with him. Currently doing my MBA right now, and then kind of just looking for jobs.
What fraternity were you guys in?
Alpha Tau Omega. Tau Omega.
At Boise State or what?
Roo-rah Rega, baby.
Oh, my Lord.
A lot of good times there. A lot of good times.
100%.
You guys got fun hazing stories or what?
Hey, we don't. These hands don't haze, man. These
to-
hands don't haze.
You're not supposed to haze, bro. Come on.
Yeah, we just had some good times with each other. We had good times. Camping trip, that was always
Yeah,
fun.
we had a good time there.
So, but you're from Washington.
So yeah, originally from Vancouver, Washington.
Why'd you transfer to come to Boise State? There's good schools in Washington. Why Boise?
Dude, honestly, the reason is, so originally I wanted to go to University of Washington super bad. Like, being a kid from Washington, everyone's like, oh, UW, like, that's kind of the holy grail, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, like, yeah, I'm going to really try and go there. Focused hard, studied for my SATs, and I didn't get in. So I was like, man, now my options are kind of limited,
Yeah.
right? And so I had applied to Boise State.
Good old Boise State being
Go Broncos.
And I
second choice.
I came here when I was like 12 or 13, and I was like, man, Boise, like, this place sucks. Like, this was back when I was in like maybe
Ouch.
2012,
Ouch.
2013. I was like, this is not
How old
for
were you
me.
back then in 2012, 2013?
Like 11, I think.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, this is just not really it. And then I ended up coming here and going to school, and I fell in love with it. Definitely could see myself staying out here for a while now.
So let me ask you this. When you first got into college, your freshman year, like, was it hard adjusting from Washington to Idaho? Like, what did that transition look like?
You know, honestly, I had never really like left home prior to that. So I would, always been with my parents, didn't really travel around a whole lot. And so when I came here for the first time, it was like, man, like I'm on my own for like the first time really. And you get kind of rowdy, you party a whole bunch, but then I eventually found my path. Met some really great buddies who I'm still friends with to today, and it was a pretty seamless transition, I would say.
Nice. Were you like a young adult? Like you were 18? Like you left the house at 18 to come to
17.
17.
Yeah.
He was a young
I started school or college when I was 17. Yeah.
That's cool. Respect.
Were you living on campus?
Yeah, so I lived in the dorm. So there's a couple different styles, like the traditional dorm ones where it's like you're living in a room like about the size of this and with 2 beds. But I had more of like an apartment style one. So I shared it with 2 other guys. We had our own bathroom. And so it was kind of like a little bit of a luxurious dorm, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it was pretty nice. It definitely was cool. And then I lived in a house ever since then.
That's dope. What is Boise State tuition like? Is it as far as it's gotta be less than UW. It's gotta be less than UW, but because you're coming from out of state, it can't be that cheap.
So, okay, yes, you are right, but I was fortunate enough to get this thing called the WUI. So pretty much it makes it so certain states have like agreements with each other that if you're an out-of-state student, you can go to that college for the same like price as an in-state
So
student.
is it like the Pacific Northwest has like a little group of schools that decide?
Yeah. So I think it's like Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and then it made it like super affordable to end up
That's
coming here.
dope, though. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that existed when I was going to college. I'm about a decade older than you guys. So.
I know he's the old head in the group. He's the unk.
Okay.
He's the unk.
We got Unk over
I'm
here.
37. How old are
He's
you?
the unk
27?
26.
How old are you?
23.
Oh, yeah,
So
you're a
that's
baby.
That's why he said he basically called me out. He's like, Kevin's a couple years older than me. But
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't trying to date you.
He outed me out, man. So listen, what are you doing nowadays? So you said you went to school for finance and you graduated with your bachelor's. So what are you up to now?
Yeah, so right now, currently working on wrapping up my master's. It was a 2-year program. Then also, I'm working as a data analyst for the university as well. So part of my deal with the school was I got this scholarship that I work for the school for 2 years. They completely cover the master's tuition, and I get a little bit of a stipend on top. So it's been a really great opportunity to like work and go to school at the same time.
So are you still living on campus though?
So no, I've lived in a house now for I've lived in the same house for about 4 years now, and so I haven't lived on campus since I was a freshman year.
Got it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what are you doing? Like, what's kind of like your day to day in a data analyst role, like for the university? Like,
yeah. So I mean, to walk you through like my Monday through Friday, pretty much, because it's pretty the same. I'll wake up in the morning, kind of check my school email, make sure I'm on top of everything, check my agenda, go through a little morning routine, stretch. It's important to stretch, get a good breakfast in.
Limber up.
He's a big brother.
And then I'll go to class. Class is at 9 a.m. Get out at about noon, and then I'll usually come home, eat a little lunch. Work for a few hours, hit the gym, hit a run, and then kind of wind down at the end of the day, make some dinner, chill, watch some TV, something like that.
Damn, I kind of need that schedule.
It's honestly, it's really nice. Yeah,
it sounds kind of intense a little bit though.
No, yeah, that's true.
My work is pretty flexible, so it's a lot of like, work on your own time, but you just got to get your hours in this project in, and so it's been a great opportunity to kind of like learn the skills from the classroom and apply them to like a job that's relatively like low, kind of intense, like it's not that serious, and they give you great feedback and an opportunity to learn and build your resume at the same time.
What's the goal after this? Like, what's the long term? What are you working towards?
So honestly, for the longest time, I wanted to be like a financial analyst, investment banker. Mm-hmm. So that's why I got my undergrad in finance. And then I kind of like, did some reading, talked to some people in the industry, and they're like, yeah, be prepared for these, 70, 80 hour work weeks and stuff like that. And I was like, honestly, that's just not for me. Like I respect people who grind like that. Like, that's totally cool. But, like, I'm just not an 80-hour work week type of guy. Like, I need some time to chill, spend some time with family, myself. And so I was like, okay, maybe I should look for other things. And so kind of stumbled upon this graduate program, led into learning data analytics and kind of working with data that way. Got a really good internship with Micron over the summer, and so hoping to continue on with them after I graduate. And
to stay at Micron. I mean, they got a lot of big projects coming on in our area.
That's a hub that's getting built out there in Mountain Home area, or towards Mountain Home.
I think Micron is going to be one of the biggest, not necessarily a boost, because they've already been such a big part and a vital part of our economy since, for forever, but they're going to continue to be as we continue to grow and more people come here. Like, we have to be able to grow with the population. Right, we have so many people coming in from all over the place. But we got to give them something to do. We got to create a job market. We got to make sure that we can sustain in the economy. Like, it causes all sorts of issues besides like the road work. We have to be able to sustain as an economy all these people coming in, and Micron is going to be a big player in that around here. A lot of these tech companies, whether it's Micron, Amazon, Google, Facebook. Yeah, I mean, they're all coming through, and we're becoming that little like hub, kind of like how, not as big as like a Seattle hub or even a San Francisco hub, but it's coming. I think that's kind of where the direction and the trajectory of the economy in this market is headed.
We're like the baby brother right now,
Yeah, for sure. Seattle's little brother.
We're relatively business friendly.
We are.
For sure.
So there's not a lot of red tape when people come, when the big companies come here. There's not a lot of red tape as far as regulation, what you can and can't do. Like, they can build pretty quickly. There's not a whole lot of government restriction that there is like in California or even in Washington.
Yeah, I actually saw an article by Smart Wallet where we were ranked, I believe, number 5. Chat, you can check me on this, but we ranked the top cities where you could start a business, and Boise, Idaho was actually ranked number 5. And so that goes to that point, is we're a friendly place to start a business and to get entrepreneurs rolling. So I really like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to, because we can only build so many, like, In-N-Outs, you know what I mean, that are going to have.
We got 3 now.
I know, the one in Nampa.
Those popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah. But we can only build so many In-N-Outs for people to work at. Like, we have to have an infrastructure. We have to have an economy that can support all the people that are coming here.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of things that are here now, like, what are some of your favorite things to do, like, or to go to now that you're living here now, like, almost full time?
The highlights of Boise?
Yeah, what are your highlights of Boise? Because you live specifically in that area.
Okay, some of the, I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but one of the things I honestly love is the Greenbelt. Like, the Greenbelt is something that, like, I honestly have not experienced, like, back home. There was not anything that's that long, that clean, and that so many people are on. And it's like, I mean, you can walk it, you can bike it, run. I mean, so many things. I love hopping on the Greenbelt on a nice day.
It's a very attractive feature of both Boise and Eagle. I think Boise and Eagle highlight the river belt and being able to have that river access, because that is one thing. Like, we always talk about how I love Nampa because I live in Nampa.
He doesn't leave Nampa.
But like in Nampa, you don't have that. You don't have the Boise River. And the Boise River truly is a nice staple of the Boise area, the Boise Valley. Like, there's so much nice stuff to do. Like, you talked about going on the Greenbelt. That Greenbelt runs for what, like 15 miles or something?
It's super long.
Maybe even more. I mean, because doesn't it start up by Lucky Peak out there? Starts up by Lucky Peak and goes all the way through Garden City, out the other side. So it might be closer to like freaking 30 miles. I don't know how much that is. Like,
yeah, it'd be kind of a cool little like trial to like do it all in, like as most of it.
We might have to run the whole thing.
Yeah,
run
he's
the
a
whole
big
thing.
runner. You might have to try.
We've done the Apple area, the Apple Broadway Park Center area, all the way to like Garden City, because there's a lot of breweries and wineries on there now.
Yeah, like right along it.
So we rented a couple bikes, and a couple of homies rented the electric bikes.
10 drinks later, you're like swerving.
No joke. But it was a fun day, dude. That was a super fun day. Like, we got the crew together. It was like 6 or 8 of us. We all rented bikes and started off on that side of Park Center and just kind of worked our way down all the way into Garden City. Bro, it was a super fun day.
That's kind of funny you say that, because I have memories with me and Mike where we have like 6 to 8 people. We're doing the same stuff, but in downtown Boise. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have a group of friends that you can hang out
But the Greenbelt to downtown Boise is like super quick too, though.
Yeah,
we jumped off of the Greenbelt and we went into a couple of the bars in downtown Boise for a minute. I think we had lunch down there that day.
What's your favorite bar in downtown Boise?
Man, you know I don't like to go downtown.
I know, but
you got to pick one though.
On the spot. Let's just say, bro.
I don't even have one. To be honest, I don't have one. I don't like going downtown. If I'm gonna go.
He's gonna say
Amsterdam, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. So you got
maybe
some class.
Amsterdam.
You got some class. All right.
I used to really like Fatty's. Fatty's was my shit back in the day. Now it's what, Karma?
Yeah.
But when it was Fatty's,
Fatty's
was my shit. That was like the place I loved to.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Fatty's did probably. It was probably before you were 21.
Yeah.
Because it's been Karma for a couple years at least.
It was probably before I was born even.
Yeah.
he's not that old.
I know. Playing.
Yeah, Fatty's was cool. I used to really like the arcade bar that they had, Space Bar.
Oh yeah, I think that's still there.
No, it actually got shut down.
Yeah, Space Bar got shut down.
Really?
That place was dope. I don't know, man. What are your favorite spots? Like, everybody goes, when I go out, everybody wants to go to Hump and Hannah's. Everything that's right there on 6th Street. The Bad Love, what is it called? Strange Love, Roddy's. That little corner. That's where everybody wants to go.
Bro, that's one of the things that I love about Boise too, is that like when you go downtown, you've got like 5 or 6 different really cool bars that you can kind of just walk in between, and like I've never really gone anywhere else where you can do that, and it's also super clean and safe. You're never gonna be passing by like a bunch of homeless people on the corner
with a needle in his arm.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I go out in downtown Seattle with my buddies. It's way different vibe. Back home in downtown Vancouver, it's like 2 bars in the area. It's like it's definitely a super nice blessing to have that all in the same area.
Yeah. Even like we just came back from Salt Lake City. I went to Salt Lake City last weekend. And it's not as like grimy as like a Portland or a Seattle, but it's also not very fun. Like,
and they also close at 1 a.m.
Yeah, like Salt Lake
early.
Salt Lake kind of has a little bit of a lame downtown. Don't take any shots at me.
It ain't it.
He is kind of taking a shot. Get him.
But yeah, Boise is dope in that regard. Like, you could travel from one end of downtown to the other in like 15 minutes walking, and you could see 10 different bars that are dope and popping.
Yeah, no, 100%. So with all that being said, you got to tell us at least your favorite bar.
Bro, honestly,
I already know it, but...
Okay, if I'm going downtown and I got to pick one, I'm probably picking Granny's.
I already knew that.
I like Granny's because you can... If you have a big enough group of people you're going with, you can kind of congregate in that little downstairs, like kind of small area. And you just, like, all of your buddies are right there. Yeah. It's, like, one bartender, so it's pretty easy to get drinks.
We got to take you there.
And that's always a fun time.
I take it back. My favorite spot is the place where we shoot pool at. I don't even know if you've been there, but... It's
Whiskey Bar?
No, it's not even in the main downtown area. It's off to the like side, one of the side streets.
Ooh,
it's Hooligans.
Oh,
Mulligans.
Mulligans is kind of a place to like start your night, or technically. No, but like that place is cool because you can play pool, get really, really cheap drinks, and then kind of make your way.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite spots.
Mulligans is cool. Yeah,
because they got pool tables, they got darts, they got the karaoke machine for pretty cheap, and
I think
they'll actually turn it up for you.
Yeah,
pool might actually be free there. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah,
no wonder they freaking hog it, man. Those motherfuckers are there all the time.
Freaking shoot pool, anyways. Bro.
I know
you don't want to embarrass yourself on a table.
I don't want to embarrass myself because I play with you, and you're actually really good.
This guy's a shark.
He's a shark.
I'm not a shark because I tell you up front.
Well, also, no, you tell people, you front people, dude. I saw you playing Caldwell one time. You're like, I'm not even.
Where were we playing? At the Indian Creek?
In the creek, and you played against 2 randos, and you hustled them for
Indian
like
Creek is dope.
$20.
Yeah, well, but you gotta be careful at Indian Creek, bro, because
all the
gangsters come out. All the gangsters come out at Indian Creek, dude. You never know. Like last time we were down there, there was definitely like the Sea City Lokes out there looking at you and making sure
it gets sketchy down there.
Yeah.
Wait, so not to be the stereotypical guy, but Mike, do you leave Boise, or do you ever go outside Boise, or do you like go to Meridian? Do you go to Nampa? Have you taken time to explore the greater Treasure Valley?
Honestly, I've gone out to Meridian quite a bit more recently. I've got a couple buddies from the MBA program who live out there, so I've just kind of explored that downtown area a little bit more and just kind of their neighborhoods.
Downtown Meridian's kind of cool too, though.
Ooh,
It's honestly sick. Like I wasn't a believer at first, but then it's like it's a pretty cool spot. Yeah. Like Frontier Club. Yeah. I think there's one called 127.
Yeah. Country bar.
Yeah. No, there's some good ones down there. But yeah, no, Meridian is sick. They got Shields out there now. It's been out there for like a year.
I still haven't been to Shields actually.
You gotta take your kids, dude.
You're missing out.
I think my kids have already gone, but
Shields is sick. They have literally everything. Yeah. Like you will walk out and have spent like a couple $100.
I'll
dude, literally.
It's like the Costco of cool shit.
I go in there and I get a bunch of stuff that I don't need. I'm like, babe, I got a bunch of stuff, and she's like, why?
Babe, we're gonna go backpacking now.
It just seems like a good idea while you're in there. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna get this too.
Yeah, 100%.
Are you going on any vacations coming up or what?
So the big plan for me and my partner, we're gonna go to Europe. I hope.
Me and my partner. Yeah. You can't say Paulina or what?
I don't want to. I don't want.
Put her on blast. Hey, Paulina, I don't know if you're cool to be on the podcast.
I don't want the chat to go after. You know what I'm saying? She's mine, guys. No, but no. I'm just, I'm me. But we're planning to go to Europe this year, if not Mexico.
Europe, that's freaking cool though.
Really? For the first time. I know this guy's been. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that. But
it's crazy.
All right, so we had to kind of take a quick break because the other host, bro, had to dip out, and
we lost him.
So we lost him for now. But we're gonna kind of keep it going. That way we can get a lot of value and just talk some stories with Michael. So let's start with. All right, so we talked about some vacations. We talked about a little bit about you went to Spain, you did this and that. And now you're about to graduate, hopefully in the spring.
Yeah.
And we talked about the power of networking. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about real estate. Like, what do you foresee in the next few years? Do you foresee yourself here or Washington?
Yeah, dude, I honestly ask myself that question kind of a lot lately because I'm in a big transitional phase kind of in my life right now, about to start the first few years of my career. And right now, applying to jobs both back home and here. So kind of not sure where I'll end up. Hoping to kind of stay here. I've got a good kind of setup, kind of like where I'm at right now. And so ideally stay here for a couple years. Kind of build that nest egg to save up for a down payment, and then kind of analyze my life at that situation, see if I want to, settle down, buy a house here, maybe go back home. We'll kind of see how that all looks in about maybe 3 to 5 years from now. But yeah, that's kind of my game plan. Just save up to be able to buy a house one day.
I know, and exactly saving up to buy a house one day. What's your outsider's sentiment towards where the housing market's at here in Idaho or even in Washington too, where you're from?
Dude, I mean, one of the things I'm just kind of seeing and feeling kind of across the board is it's expensive right now. And I mean, I'm sure that's been said for years and years, but right. I especially feel that right now as kind of a young person going to start my career. I know a lot of entry-level jobs, you make 50, 60, maybe mid-60,000s in your entry-level position, but if you were to go take on a mortgage for $400,000 home, which is kind of the general starting price for homes in Boise, that can be really hard to make that payment, right. without living with roommates or maybe a significant other. So it's definitely an interesting time. And so kind of just weighing those options of, am I going to just keep renting for a few more years? Am I going to eventually want to get a duplex and rent out the other side? I know that's something that we've always talked about. You could have, you live in one side, your homie live in the other side. You're both building equity in a property, but it's essentially half as much because, duplex you split in half. But, yeah, no, it's interesting. I definitely want to be a homeowner one day, but it's just going to require a lot of hard work and saving up to get there, I think.
Yeah, and how do you feel let's say that the opportunity comes up and your buddy comes back into town. He's like, dude, I want to get a place, but would you be willing to go in it with me and be my roommate for the first year or two? How do you feel about something like that?
Oh, dude, I'd pull the trigger. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things that if you crunch the numbers, and it'd have to be a good deal, right? I'm not just going to go into it because that sounds fun, right? If the numbers make sense, I think I would definitely do something like that. I mean, especially with just how difficult it is to, afford,
the entry's crazy.
Afford homes, the interest rate. I mean, for a while there, a home loan interest rate was a little over 7%, which is, I mean, you do the math on that. You're almost paying more than your home in interest over the longevity of the loan.
It's a lot.
Than even what you're paying for up front. So it's a really crazy thing to kind of wrap your mind around. And so, yeah, with rates the way they are, with how much it takes to save up for something to do that for a couple years, we're young, None of my friends have any kids. A lot of people aren't even married. So it's definitely something that at this stage in life I could see myself doing.
And what if it's in Nampa or Caldwell? Because you live in Boise, you get all the luxury of having everything right there, the Greenbelt, downtown Boise, all the best restaurants. But if it's somewhere out there, which there's a lot to do out there, but you just, but how do you feel about something like that?
I've thought about kind of spreading out outside of Boise. Not that it's that far out, but I've looked at Meridian. I think I would be cool with going out to Meridian. Yeah. But as for Nampa and Caldwell, I've always grown up in like a city environment. I've always been, 2 or 3 minutes from the grocery store, 5 minutes from the highway, things like that. I like that kind of feeling, just to kind of be close of where things are going on. I don't think right now I want to live out in, kind of a separated area or have to drive, 45 minutes into town or something like that. That's just not really my cup of tea at the stage of life I'm at right now. But maybe later on, as I get older, I could definitely see the appeal to wanting to live in an area like that. But for now, I think I want to stay in sort of the more metro area. Right
on. And like we mentioned a little bit about real estate investing and the importance of it and the appreciation that it brings. But off the air, we talk a lot about just investing in general. So we talk about a lot about personal finance. And so I know you do a lot about that. So like what's kind of your background in that and like how you got into investing in like the stock market or whatever it may be? Like what got you into it and what are you doing now?
Yeah, dude. So honestly, when I was in high school, I ran like an iPhone repair business, and so
you did it through college, bro.
I know, I did it a little bit through college, but in high school, like that was my thing. Like, I was known as the guy who like fixed phones and stuff, and so I made a decent amount of money through that. And I was always just putting it into the bank, right? But every month I would see that I made like 2 cents on interest.
And back then you wouldn't make that much interest on savings accounts.
Exactly, right? Yeah, it was like 2 cents per month, and I think I maybe made like 50 cents a year or something. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like this is really lame that I'm putting, a couple $1,000s at the time, which to me was like all the money in the world. Yeah. And I was like, how can I make my money work for me? And so I started to really get into like financial stuff on YouTube. One of the pioneers that I watched was Graham Stephan. He was really great. There's a couple other podcasts that I really like to listen to, a few books I've read, and it just kind of taught me the power of investing. And so kind of learned the inner workings of that. That really inspired me to even study finance in college. And so, that started my investing journey right at 18, and that's kind of just how it started,
To realize that at the age of 18 is something most people don't do.
I feel definitely very thankful that, it just really like stumbled upon, like I stumbled upon it because I happen to have that entrepreneurial mindset. And I made a lot of money, and I was like, okay, what should I do next with this? Because I saw that, you see $3,000 sitting in a bank, and you're like, okay, I'm getting 1 cent on this. How can I make my money work for me in a safe way? And then I discovered Roth IRA, Robinhood. Eventually, I have a 401k now that I work for a company.
Right.
And it's like all these tools that now I can put money away now. It'll grow for me and allow me to retire and eventually just kind of pull from that giant nest egg.
Yeah, and so when you're talking about a portfolio, right, and like a stock portfolio, are you strictly investing in just like blue chip companies, or like are you like kind of you have a mixed portfolio? You have some like ETFs mixed with some regular companies, and then maybe some crypto thrown in there? Like, what do you like to do?
Yeah, so I will say I'm pretty basic, pretty vanilla when it comes to investing.
Yeah, you keep it pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I like to just do the S&P 500.
And obviously, we're not financial advisors.
No financial advice.
No financial advice. We're just two bros just talking about.
Two guys chalking it up about
chopping
numbers.
it up. Yeah, disclaimer, right?
But no, I keep it pretty simple. A lot of S&P 500, Vanguard 500, just simple things. They're safe. Over the 30-year average historical return on them is around 9%, which is definitely a pretty safe.
That's nice.
Safe return on your money. I do have some money in individual companies as well. Yes. Microsoft, Apple, definitely more tech oriented on the individual, but that's where I got a little bit more risky when I was initially investing. Fortunately, it paid off because I got in kind of right during COVID. Tech stocks really boomed, so that has paid off for me pretty well. But other than that, I like to keep it pretty simple. Very risk averse in my portfolio. And so to kind of touch on the crypto, I'm not very big into it. I know a lot of people are. I personally think that I would never want maybe more than 5% of my portfolio to be in crypto, just in the off chance that, it could tank tomorrow. Right. It could go, I think Bitcoin today was at 105,000.
105, yeah.
It could maybe go down to 20,000 tomorrow. Right. It's very unlikely, but it could, and everything else in the economy in the world would stay the exact same.
Yeah.
And so I just don't like to really take a lot of risks when it comes to my money and the potential thought of retiring early. So.
And did you feel that when it went to 15,000 back in 2023, and then it is where it is now. Did you see that? Like, did you, like, obviously you just mentioned the risk, right? Mm-hmm. But do you like punch yourself or pinch yourself a little bit that you didn't put at least a little bit in during that time, that low period? It was like a super low for that time.
The thing is, you can always look back at the what ifs.
Right.
Like, what if
That's
I
true.
invested?
We all do, right? We all do.
Oh yeah, and it applies to more than just finance, but
life, women,
everything, man. Hey, what if? Man? No, but if you, yeah, sure. I mean, definitely, I do think about that sometimes. Man, you know, what was I doing in 2012 playing the Nintendo Wii? I could have been investing in Bitcoin or something, or even like you know 3-4 years ago.
But like more in a realistic manner, like 18 and up.
Sure, yeah, you know, and I heard about it and I read about it, but I've honestly always been a skeptic. Like I've never really.
You're a hater.
I'm a hater,
skeptic
bro.
Is a fancy word for a hater, right?
I'm a crypto hater. But yeah, I never really bought into it just because it's not really tied to anything. You know, like you look at stocks and they're tied to either a specific company, or if it's like an ETF, it's tied to multiple different companies.
Right.
And it tracks kind of a fund, right? And so when you're looking at crypto, it's not really tied to anything, right? People are mining these coins, and sure it will go up, but eventually they'll have mined all the coins. And so I was like, I'm just not really in on this. And so I see the value in it. I mean, there's definitely utility for certain cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but you know, there's so many things with like meme tokens and all this other stuff that it's just not really something that I want to spend a lot of time looking into. I'd rather just pick something that's historically been pretty safe, a lot of people trust, and I'll just ride that because I know it'll be.
It's
okay.
proven, right?
Yeah, it's proven. Yeah, I'm a numbers guy, right?
Yeah, you're a numbers guy. You're a finance guy for a reason, and it's crazy because I view sometimes the meme coins to be sort of like a gambling.
Yes, totally gambling.
Dude, so think about this. Like, what are your thoughts when influencers, certain, you know, we're not gonna say any names. You don't want to get a lawsuit, right? But
no, throwing no shade here.
No shade, but there are some people that take advantage of their name and likeness to pump up certain coins, and then they end up, you know, they behind the scenes they sell off, and then a lot of people get kind of stuck with the tip it down.
Oh yeah, it's their whole fan base.
That's so tough though. Like, how do you feel about those things?
It's disappointing to see that, really, because I mean, depending on these influencers, some of them are, you know, 15 minutes of fame and they're gone, but other ones, you know, you've seen them around for years, right? And then they're like, oh, I'm dropping this token, I'm dropping this NFT project,
I'm dropping a Kevin Ortiz coin tomorrow, guys.
And it's just like, to me, it's really sad because a lot of these people's audience tends to be a lot younger, right? So it's probably people who are 18 and younger, 20 and younger, so
like
very,
Gen Z, Gen Alpha,
very easily influenced by these celebrities and high-profile people. And so to see them kind of manipulate their fan base to make, you know, a quick $2 million off of them and then rug pull them,
that's
like, it's
crazy.
just like, man, what are you doing? Like, go sell some merch, sell some T-shirts or something, but like, don't do that. I eventually think it'll catch up to them. Like, I'm sure a lawsuit will, you know, get a couple of them here in a few years, but that's just something that personally, if I was fortunate enough to have that kind of, you know, celebrity status, I would never really want to do something like that because that's just, you're scamming your fans.
So we're not going to do a Kevin and Mike coin.
No Kevin Mike coin. I mean, when this podcast hits 1 million followers, we'll sell some merch, right? But we're not going to be pumping out no coins.
All right. That's fair enough. But I mean, let's go back to places that you liked. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. You love the Greenbelt. Now let's talk about food. Like, let's say that you're meeting or you're introducing someone to the Boise area for the first time. Don't say barbacoa because I already talked about it last week. Give me another one that you were like, okay, I'm going to bring you here because this place is dope. It can be coffee. It could be places to eat. It could be whatever.
Brewery too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We like to drink a little bit too.
Yeah. So if it's if they're coming out in the spring or summertime and it's like, hey, man, let's go grab a beer, catch up. One of my buddies I haven't seen, we're going to Payette.
Ooh.
For sure.
Tell us more.
I like Payette a lot because there's always a good group of people there. It's always a great vibe. It's not too loud. That's my problem with some of these places. It's like you go in there and it's like, if I were having a conversation right here, I can barely hear you. And it's like, okay, now I'm yelling at the person next to me. This is irritating. But when you go to Payette, there's a nice, really outdoor area. They got cornhole. They got that big fire pit. The beer is great there, and so it's a great time. I love to go to Payette, love to catch up with people, and so yeah, that's definitely my place to go to for beers.
I like that place too. Have you ever been at Green Acres where they have all those food trucks and stuff?
Yes, that place is super cool too.
Yeah, I'm excited to go there, and then I
think they do live music there as well.
They do. It's a good place, and the sandbar's pretty cool in the summer.
I've actually never been to the sandbar, but I've heard it's really cool.
It's like off the Greenbelt. You could probably like. It'd be so sick to like run there and then like catch beer after.
Dude, yeah, I'm thinking of doing that some more this summer.
Yeah, you gotta do that, or some coffee or something. Bring your backpack with you. Yeah, and like, do some work after.
And then in terms of food, kind of, I mean, obviously, again in the summertime, hitting Koa Happy Hour.
Right.
I know we already talked about it, but that place is superb, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the best places you can go. And then really just downtown Boise offers so many different options that you can go and get some cool places. Like I love to just kind of park in one of the garages, wander around, and then go get food with my girl somewhere. It's a good time.
Right on. And so you moved here from Washington. Boom, boom, boom. We talked about that. Did you ever get heckled by any locals saying, "Oh, this guy's a transplant" or anything like that?
Honestly, I think most of the people from California took that flack from me, so I'm fortunate enough to not really receive that.
You scathed by because you're from Washington.
Yeah, they let the Washington people slide. They let Oregon people slide.
Dang.
Really, it was just California caught a lot of hate. So.
I should have given you more flack, dude.
No, it definitely did probably raise the home prices like by an astronomical amount. I mean, even from the time that I was here.
Yeah, because when did you? Tell me your freshman year. Like, what year was that?
I came here in August of 2019.
Yeah, so, I mean, around then it was, better than it is.
And so I was in the dorms, granted, so I wasn't really like in tune with rent and stuff. But when I first rented a house, it was kind of right after COVID had happened, but before everyone started like flowing in here super tough, and we got a pretty good sized house.
I remember that house.
Yeah, that house was sick, and
massive house.
We had 4 people living in there. Honestly, just a great home, and it was like $600 a person. And so, I mean, that's like you can't find that.
And you go from that to downsizing and paying $100
and
more.
Yeah, no, in a much smaller area too. I think I want to say I looked it up or contacted that house when I saw it for rent maybe like a year ago, and it's because I was just curious, what are they charging for rent now? And I want to say it would have broken out to be like $850 a person now.
Wow.
So I mean, in the span of 3 years, the rent went from $600 to $850. I mean, that's insane. That is insane. That's almost a 50% increase in the price and rent. So I mean, that just goes to show how popular this area is getting in such a little time.
And it's crazy you say that because Boise State this last semester or this last year had one of their biggest like influx of students ever, and so they just. Like, while the population's growing too, that university's also booming too.
Yeah, they're putting up new dorms, I mean, left and right. I mean...
I know! Where were those when I was in school, man? Gosh.
From the time that I graduated, my undergrad, which was 2 years ago, just about, they've already put up 2 full new dorm buildings.
Yeah, don't they have one coming up right between the library?
Yeah, they got another one too. That one has taken quite a while to build. I don't know what the...
Oh, really? But I heard it's opening like this upcoming year.
Okay, then it probably will be. Yeah, so that's going to be 3 within 3 years.
Holy smokes. Oh, the one by the gas station, by the cross business
PVC.
building?
Yeah. That one...
Holy smokes.
That one's called the Osprey, and that one just went up. And then there's the... I think it's called the Verve, right by Big Judd's. They put up that one
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Maybe that's not...
That's like an identity type of place, right?
Okay, but even still, I'd probably say it's like 90% college students.
And for the viewers that don't know what that is, that's just off-campus living. That's not. That's so close to the university, you could still walk there. And
I don't even think it's a half mile. Yeah, it's like literally, it's right there on campus.
And those are typically pretty nice. 3-bedroom.
Yeah, they've got a few different floor plans. I think you can have 3, some rooms have 4. I remember a couple of buddies who lived in those places had 4-bedroom ones. But yeah, it's a cool place, especially when you're like maybe a sophomore, junior, and like you're not ready for a house yet, but you still want to live with a couple of good people. You live in an apartment, and people on different floors, different levels.
That's always a shit show, but fun.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool when you're like 19, 20.
Right, when you're young, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun time. That's a fun time, man.
But shoot, let's just dive into a completely different topic. I mean, we kind of dove into real estate. We talked about investing, something that you and I are both interested in. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about sports. We were originally supposed to talk with Patrick, but he's not here.
He dipped on us.
He flaked, but it's cool. We could keep it going. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk Seahawks because you're a Seahawks fan, and then I want to talk about your Super Bowl pick. So it's kind of a 2-parted question. Okay, right. So give me like your synopsis of where you see the Seahawks going next year, and your Super Bowl picks and why.
All right, so to start off with the Hawks, we definitely need to rebuild the offensive line. I think that should be the first priority. Geno was one of the most sacked quarterbacks this year.
Dang.
It just was
tough life.
It was tough.
He had a good year though. He hit all his bonuses.
And he was like definitely. I think he was top 5 in pass yards.
Yeah.
So he was still slinging the ball, but I mean, just no offensive line. And so I think we should really go out there, get 1 or 2 pieces of that position. I would personally love to see the Hawks, if they could, pick up like Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. Good quarterback. Geno, I think, has 1 year left on his deal. Then he's going to become a free agent.
Right.
I don't think we should keep Geno around too long. He's a great get you by.
He's a good bridge quarterback, as they say.
Yes, he's not going to take us to the Super Bowl. but he's also not going to only win us 2 games. So it's like he's doing his job.
We'll get you 8-9 wins.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think we were 10-7 this year, but we didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And but yeah, other than that, heard some rumors DK might be leaving. So we'll see what happens with that. JSN, great upcoming receiver.
Dude's a baller.
Yeah, he I think he had a 1,000-yard season, several touchdowns. So yeah, that was great to see. And then in terms for the Super Bowl, man,
who you got? Be honest.
I want to see the Eagles win. I really want to
just like everybody else. Right?
I mean, it's just, I have really nothing against the Chiefs, right? I mean, you really can't bet against 1-5. I mean, he seems to win every game, but I would love to see the Eagles take this one home. I think if Saquon can have a great game and break out in the run game, I definitely think they could pull it off. They're going to need to get A.J. Brown involved in the pass game as well, but we'll see.
I saw this crazy stat that the Chiefs in the playoffs haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in like 5 games or something crazy.
Really?
In the playoffs. So they're like dialed in. So we'll see like what they ship up.
I'm excited to see that, man. Yeah, no, I think it'll be a close game at the end of the day. I mean, you've got 2 teams who like do things that I feel like people really don't like a lot. Right. So you got the Eagles with the tush push. I think people are sick and tired of that. And then
it's a crazy play.
And then you got the Chiefs who seem to like, 3rd and 15, Patrick Mahomes just hucks it down. Oh, pass interference, first down. So it's like, man,
the refs, right?
We're gonna see how that game's gonna turn out. But I'm excited. I'm hammering the over. So,
yeah,
I'm betting on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be high scoring.
Nice,
explosive offenses.
Yeah, because 2 years ago it was like over 35 points or something like that. Yeah. So we're expecting a big shootout. Yeah. Are you excited for the halftime show, or do you watch the halftime show?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of hype with the Kendrick Lamar, and that he's had a lot of Drake beef.
Yeah.
I heard he's gonna play Not Like Us, so that's definitely.
Is he gonna say what?
I think so. I think so, and I think it'll be a good one. My favorite halftime show was probably a couple years ago when they had like 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, Eminem. They brought them all out. Well, that was the Rams Super Bowl.
That was the Rams. The year we won in LA.
That was fire. That was probably one of my favorite ones. But yeah, it'll be good to see Kendrick. He's got some good. Hopefully, play some of his good classic songs. Yeah, I think that'll be definitely something fun to watch. Are
you someone that watches like the commercials and that's into them, or are you like out there socializing after the games on commercial mode?
I mean, I like to see them. I like to peruse the commercials. There's always a couple funny ones, like Doritos puts out a good
Doritos
one.
Always fire, Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I think it was last year Kanye put like some kind of weird one where it was like buy Yeezy or something. Like something really weird and cryptic. But yeah, there's always a couple good ones, and it's fun to watch it. One year for one of my classes, we had to like analyze a couple Super Bowl commercials.
Nice.
Write a paper or something about like the marketing tactics, and it's cool. They get really creative. It's fun to watch, and there's always like a couple good ones in there. I think it's like over $1 million for like a 30-second time slot. It's probably more, but I remember that stat thrown around a few years ago. Like it's $1 million for 30 seconds. Like, man, that's insane.
And the amount of eyeballs that you get on there, but like, how many of those eyeballs are actually gonna like?
What's the conversion rate?
Yeah, right? I want to know the conversion rate on some of these. I bet some of these big baller companies they do it just to be on top of mine. But
for sure. But I mean, I think about myself. Like, have I ever went out and bought a product just because I saw it in a Super Bowl ad?
No.
Like, no, I've never even thought about it. Am I influenced to buy Doritos because I see that funny commercial? No. It's funny.
Maybe subconsciously, while we're at the store, we do see the brand and we're like, oh, I like Doritos because I like Doritos. Like, I don't like the sign.
The science. This body is a temple. I don't eat chips, bro.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that. Like, what? So, are you into fitness? Is that something you're into?
Dude, yeah. So I recently I'd say probably in the past like 9 months to a year, I got really into running. I just kind of needed like an outlet of something to do. I love working out, but I just felt like I was doing the same thing all the time. Just kind of wasn't really seeing the results I wanted. I was like, I just got to switch it up, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so I just started to go running. Started to do it on the treadmill, which can kind of be kind of monotonous sometimes. And then go out on the green belt. I just kind of fell in love with running, dude. And all of a sudden, I went from doing like couple miles a week to then doing 15-20 miles a week running, and it was like, this is awesome, and it's a great workout for you, great for your heart.
So when you're like running all these dang miles, are you listening to like podcasts, David Goggins screaming in your ear? Are you putting on some EDM, some rap, some reggaeton? What are you fucking pumping in there?
I would say, okay, so I'll break it down by like percentage time. So
all right, so 1 mile I got this, 1 mile I got that.
Okay, so it's like if I go on, I probably listen to like classic rock, like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, those like stuff that like my pops would listen to. I'm probably listening to that like 80% of the time, just because that's like something that gets me going. Like something about the guitar, the drums, bro. It's like it gets me going, gets me in my rhythm. And so I listen to that a lot. I'll listen to rap occasionally. Sometimes I don't like it because rap songs are like really short, and so I kind of like count the songs in my head, and I'll be like, okay, 10 songs is past how far I'm at. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm only at 2.5 miles.
Right.
Like if I was listening to my other music, I'd be at like 4 by now. And so I don't really necessarily listen to rap too much. And then occasionally like a motivational video. Those, every once in a while, I'll just wake up on the right side of the bed and I'm like, yeah, I'll crank a motivational
Let's
video.
put Goggins on, bro.
Yeah. They're just yelling at you in your ear, keep going. Yeah, no, it's great. I always listen to music though. I mean, some people don't listen to music at all. I ran with a couple of my buddies on the track team one time. And they're like, yeah, we don't listen to music when we run. And
so they're just raw dogging it.
Bro, they talk while they run. And so I'm out here, they're like, yeah, we're going to go for 5 miles. And, we're running at like a 6:50, 7-minute pace and talking the whole time, bro. And I was like,
I'd be so out of breath.
I ain't going to lie, man. Like, I can run this, but not talking. Like, but then they're like talking to me the whole time. Like, this is getting kind of
sure.
Okay, man. Yeah, we're almost there. No, they're a whole different animal. Those guys are beasts. They can run I think a 5K in like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, no,
it's
that's
insane. They're beasts.
So just speaking of running, actually, there's a stereotype that once you graduate college, you either get married, run a marathon, or start boxing. And so
I'm 0 for 3.
So
I'm 0 for 3, brother.
Exactly. So there's actually a marathon, or it's gonna be like a 3K or whatever that a title company's putting on. That you should join me in that. Run it with me.
A 3K.
Yeah. How much is
5,
a 3K?
I think probably 5K.
Sorry, 5K. I'm not
5K
into
is 3 miles.
Okay, I think they're putting on a 5K that's going to benefit charity. I'm not going to announce what the title company is, but they might have something coming up. And if they do end up doing it, I'm going to try to get a group together. You should do it with me.
Oh, bro, yeah, for sure. I'll totally do
And you should smoke the competition and be like, yeah, Kev is my guy. Like, shout me out, dude.
Kev's still on his first mile right now. I just finished.
Oh, come on now.
I'm playing. No, that would be great. Yeah.
I'm going to try to get a group together, and I know you like to run. You'd be the perfect dude to
get some bro. You got to get some Hokas.
Yeah.
If you're running, get some Hokas.
It's crazy. I've actually known about that brand since like 2018, before they were booming.
Okay, you were early on them.
Yeah, because I was selling shoes and running.
Okay.
I was selling running shoes back then, so I knew about like Hoka's, Brooks, Ons, all those shoes before they blew up.
Yeah, no, those I strictly run in Hoka's pretty much because
I mean they're top of the line though.
They're great. I used to run in like some Nikes, and honestly, just no heel support for me. Started getting a shin splint, back pain. I was like, all right, it's got to be the shoes.
They look good, but maybe not the most functional for running.
Don't get me wrong, the Nikes look the best. Sometimes the Hokas are a little clunky.
If you get them all white too, they're kind of fresh.
And then all of a sudden, Bo, you go outside and run one time, they're dirty. But I think they're coming in style a little bit more, so they definitely you can pull them off now. But yeah, the Nikes will always be OG.
Dude, have you ever tried running up Table Rock? Have you ever tried that type of training when you're running?
So I've never actually run up Table Rock itself. I've done the hike. I've hiked it.
Right. I mean, it's a must when you're low.
Yeah, I know. But the running, in terms of that, I did run Roby Creek one time.
Didn't you do the marathon with that one?
The half marathon.
That one's insane.
I want to say it's like 21 or 2,200 feet elevation gain in the first 8 miles. So like, I mean, average that out, you're pretty much going like 280 feet per mile that you're inclining, which is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And I remember at the end of that, my calves were completely shot. My knees were so sore, and I was like, man, I gotta take like 2 weeks off.
Oh, I bet.
Let my legs recover. But that was a great time. That was like my first real like competition, and like it was insane the adrenaline rush I got. Like going,
and you're like running against people. And
going
stuff?
into it, it's like, bro, no competition. There's like 1,000 people there. Nobody knows who you are. There's no shot in finishing in the top 100.
Just put your headphones on.
And it's just like I had not had that adrenaline rush since like high school sports. When you're like going up in a big game or something. And I was like, man, this is a pretty good time. Like and that kind of kickstarted my running career. I was like, I'm getting into this. So yeah.
Dang. Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. And I guess to wrap up kind of the things that you're into, let's shift gears one last time before we kind of wrap it up. So now we know a little bit about you, some of your aspirations after your MBA program. Mm-hmm. What is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's interested in getting an MBA after their bachelor's, or somebody who is like me, who's been out of school for a while, that's kind of thinking about it again? What's one piece of advice on why they should, and what they could see being a benefit afterward?
Dude, yeah. So honestly, one of the things I would say has been the biggest benefit is just the networking availability. Mm-hmm. So like, when I graduated from undergrad, I mean, I got a great education. I learned a lot of good things, but I didn't know anyone, right? I didn't really know any mentors. I didn't really have anyone to advise me on next steps. And so I was kind of just in the dark, right? And so I kind of took a shot in the dark with the MBA program, buy myself some time. I was like, I'm not ready to start working.
Which is pretty smart, actually.
And it worked out, right? So I got a great scholarship for it, and I'm pretty thankful for that. But I think the best piece of advice I could really give someone is just put yourself out there and be willing to take some risks. So, like, I mean, I took a risk joining the MBA program, and it really paid off. And you never really know what something can be like until you try it, right? If I would have did the MBA program in the first semester, I was like, this sucks. I could have probably quit and found a job. I'd be fine right now. But I put myself out there, continued to network, kind of push myself to new areas that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with before. And I feel like I've met a lot of great people, been fortunate enough to be in a great cohort. People are really willing to help you learn and help you develop your skills. And that's really been something that has been really valuable for me in my time there, I would say.
That's awesome. I mean, a combination of network, growth personally, and then growth in your career. I mean, what more could you ask for, right?
I would say some of the best classes that I've taken in that MBA program aren't even like kind of the technical ones. So like not the accounting class, not the finance class. I had one class, a teacher taught it. It was oral communications, right? And you know, you always get butterflies when you go up and speak in front of the class and stuff, and it's nerve-wracking, right? I mean, everyone's cool and they're nice.
Palms are sweaty, legs are heavy.
No, exactly, right? And he would have us go up there, I swear, like once a week we'd be presenting in front of class. And the first time, I mean, my voice is shaky, I'm stuttering, I'm saying a bunch of times, and I don't even realize it, right? But then he was like a really great instructor, great teacher. He would give everyone personalized feedback every time.
That's very good, though.
He would say, like, you know, hey, you did great, you know, making great eye contact, moving around the room. Try and focus on your, like, pace control a little bit. Don't really say as much. And, you know, you do that for 7 weeks, and all of a sudden, like, now I get up in front of the class, and I feel like I'm able to, like, speak with a lot more confidence and authority, kind of convey my message a little bit more.
Right.
And I think that was probably the most pivotal class that I've taken in the entire course.
And I think you're kind of doing that here on this podcast. I mean, it kind of shows that you are more willing to speak publicly, because when you have a camera on your face, it changes everything. Like you forget about what you're going to say.
I know.
But, I mean...
You got the lights and everything?
I mean, yeah, like you can kind of tell that you've been prepped and that you've taken the time to improve in that area, because honestly, this has felt like I'm just talking to you outside, like at the bars or something.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's just one of those things that you got to do it enough times to get comfortable
Repetition,
with it.
right?
And
it's
key. Like, that class was so perfect because he was like, listen, if you show up to class and you even get up in front and give the speech, you'll get an
That's
A.
a big step, right?
So it's like, okay, I'm not worried about how I'm going to structure the beginning, middle, and end, right? Like, obviously, we worked on that and we got better at that.
Right.
But he's like, as long as you're willing to get up here and just give it a try, you'll get an A. So right away, that kind of alleviates all the stress that,
all the
some people
pressure.
are like, oh man, I got to get an A, right?
Right.
Don't
I
worry
was
about
one of those
that.
kids.
just focus on like developing these soft skills.
Yeah.
And like even when I translate that into kind of my internships over the summer, when I would talk to people who are
higher up
VPs, you know, fucking program managers and stuff like that, they're people with very little time, and you do not want to waste
the point.
their time. Like, get to the point, be specific, and if they ask you a question, be prepared to answer.
Right.
And so I feel like that really helped me prepare, and that was able to help me communicate really well in my internship.
Yeah, being a communicator is key in any business landscape. Like, for example, in real estate, like just being able to communicate a message within an offer, when you're talking to a cold call for the first time, if you're able to communicate effectively and hopefully they don't tell you to F off, you're able to kind of build a connection, you know, a tiny spark, and then you nurture it from there. But yeah, exactly what you said.
Yeah, no, that's exactly kind of how it goes. You just be able to build that relationship, kind of get to know someone, and then you kind of develop it as it goes.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's at this point in our lives, like we're in our 20s still. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit closer to 30, obviously. But
you're almost 30.
We're ultimately still on this path of being sponges, and if we continue to be sponges, I think we can go very far, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I take every single day, I try and learn something, whether it's, you know, reading just something on Reddit. I love reading different things on Reddit, or like reading something on Instagram. It doesn't have to be, you don't got to read a chapter of a book every day. You know, a lot of people say that. That's great.
Right.
But even if it's something small, just educate yourself on something new, something interesting every day. Eventually a little bit of it will stick, and you'll find areas to use that or kind of talk about that later on in life. So yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah, I agree. And being a lifelong learner, and I think that's a great place to kind of wrap it up. I think we had a great conversation about you, learning about you, kind of bouncing off topics with Patrick, and then just overall telling the viewers that, look, being a lifelong learner, taking chances, and learning a little bit about the places in this area. That's really what this podcast is about. I know we didn't talk as much about real estate this time around, but I mean, that's the beauty of having a guest. We get to talk about something else, right? So we hope to alleviate you guys, and thanks for coming on, bro. Like,
of course,
honestly,
buddy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and all right, Patrick, you missed this part, but we're signing out.
See you guys.